Let's talk a little bit about the Newton's second law, ILDs, right? And the ILDs are the things where the kids make a prediction, a personal prediction, then they get in their groups and they discuss their prediction with their group. Then you talk about the group predictions, and I do that on like slideshows. You can just do it on paper, you can keep it simple. And then you discuss what the groups predicted, and then the kids get to see what really happens, and then they can write down what really happens, right? What this is this is a motion encoder cart, and you got to turn it on, right? It's not important to zero it because it actually uses velocity and acceleration, which don't need to be zeroed. We've got that little pulley there, and then down there's that little mass, and this mass seems to work pretty well. It's just I don't know how many grams that is. Right? And then notice that it's attached to the force scale. The force scales, for me, I set it on the 10 Newton scale. What you have to do for this is you have to take the force off of that and zero it, okay? You don't zero the force meter, it's going to be always 1 Newton or something like that. Force meters have to be zeroed, okay? And then what you have are these different predictions, right? So the first one that they're going to predict, and they're going to predict a velocity graph, and they're going to predict a acceleration graph, and then they're going to predict a force graph, right? The first one they're going to predict is just this. And notice that the wire has to be like taped down and free to move. They're just going to do this, right? Okay. Then the next one that they predict is going to be the one that has the friction on it, right? And so what you got to use is this little friction device, and you can turn this thumb screw to adjust the amount of friction. And so you stick the friction thing on there, and you make it go slower. So I just make it go noticeably slower, and I show them before and after, right? So here's after, right? This is definitely accelerating, but it's accelerating more slowly, right? Okay. Then the next one that they predict is you put it over here, and what I always do, I take this friction thing off, by the way, for this part. Okay, for the next one, you give it, it's sitting at rest, and you grab it by the force scale. And I'm going to stick a pencil in that little force scale thing. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see it? Yeah. There's a little loop there. I'm going to put the pencil in there and pull it with the force scale thing. And then I like to stop it with the force scale thing, right? And of course the force scale is going to read all that, okay? And then the next one, I think, is you put the force back on. You got to get that to quit swinging, right? It's never a good thing. You put this back on, there isn't any friction. And what you do is you start it here. And I always push on the force scale because there are kids that can predict that, right? I give it a push, and then it stops, okay? So it's like a push, and I push on the force scale, and then I don't let it go back. And then, of course, for the last one, I give it a push on the force scale, and then I try to stop it with the force scale, okay? And they want to predict that, right? That's that. And then on the computer, what I do is I use this is tripod here, okay? I use this file, looks like this, okay? And it's called Newton's second law, and it's in the ILD folder, right? So if you go in here, and it'll take you to, I think, this folder, the demo folder, right? And then it's in there, and I'll put this on the website too. Force ILDs, like that. That's kind of fun. And then there's force plate, Newton's second law, third law, right? I do all these with regular physics. I have time only for the force plate with IB, but you know, maybe I should be doing them with all of them. I just don't know. All right. Anyway, that's that.